fight, say Crawford, like immediately. They're not even debating it. Are they making a mistake?
Well, time will tell. I mean, in the end, if you make me pick, I'll pick Crawford.
All the events. Everyone's talking about the one fight right now. Terrence Crawford versus Canelo. Who do you got?
I gotta go Terrence Crawford.
Terrence Crawford?
Yeah.
Why?
This is the best ever.
Canelo goes in there and underestimates Crawford's strength. That could be a mistake, okay? It only takes a few pounds of pressure to hurt a guy. You don't need to be that big of a guy to hurt a guy.
Max Kellerman cautions Canelo Alvarez that Terrence Crawford could be the one to retire him. He explains that Crawford is a sharp and twitchy fighter with deceptive timing. Kellerman points out that Crawford usually studies his opponents in the opening rounds before unleashing precise and powerful punches. According to him, Canelo's strength may not be enough against Crawford's adaptability, making this a dangerous matchup.
The tough thing for Crawford is that Spence has a very high work rate, and we've seen Spence win behind a jab and defense on a world-class level. He's also a real hard hitter, and he's twitchy, and he's very aggressive. So usually Crawford likes to study a guy for a couple rounds, and then he kind of, okay, now I got it, and then he does it. But against Spence, you might have to hurt him or knock him out, because you turn around, and if Crawford messes around, he can be down 4-1 after 5 rounds, and not against the guy who's looking to survive, against the guy who's looking to beat you up. On the other hand, Spence also has to worry about the fact that he's been through a lot in his life so far. And Crawford, although he also has been really about boxing for a lot of years now. Usually that guy will have the advantage in the moment of truth. And Crawford's always made adjustments. He's probably the best adjusting fighter in the sport.
Shaquille O'Neal, known globally for his dominant NBA career and outspoken takes on sports, has thrown his support behind Terrence Crawford ahead of the mega showdown with Canelo Alvarez. In his view, Crawford is the best fighter of this generation, and possibly of all time. Shaq highlighted Crawford's unique ability to adjust mid-fight, describing him as a rare talent who blends timing, precision, and composure under pressure. He believes that Crawford's sharp mind and natural fighting instincts will ultimately overwhelm Canelo. For Shaq, this is not just a clash of boxing's biggest names, but a chance for Crawford to etch his name permanently in history. By saying outright that he has Crawford to win, Shaq joins the growing list of high-profile figures backing Bud to shock the boxing world once again.
Shaq, what I meant, listen, you're a lifelong combat sports fan. You go to all the events. Everyone's talking about the one fight right now. Terrence Crawford versus Canelo. Who do you got?
I gotta go Terrence Crawford.
Terrence Crawford?
Yeah.
Why?
This is the best ever.
Really? You think he's the greatest ever?
Yeah.
Over Ali, Muhammad Ali? I didn't know you were a big Terrence Crawford fan like that.
You have to understand that there's eras, and in different eras, you can bring out the titles. Like, for example, Joker's the best big man now.
Right.
And I don't like.
You put Joker over you as the best big man?
It's different eras and different time. It's not my era, not my time now.
True.
It's their time. So he's the greatest big man in the NBA right now. So I let the people decide who's that. But right now, Terrence Crawford is the best.
So
and Floyd, because Floyd has never lost.
So how does Terrence beat Canelo? Decision?
He's
or
gonna knock him out.
He's going to knock Canelo out?
Yes, man.
So they're going to have the fight at the Vegas Stadium, Raider Stadium. You're going to be there?
I heard it was off.
No, it's back on.
Okay.
Now
yes,
it's back
yeah,
on. It's in September 13th in Vegas.
Yeah, I'll be there.
You'll be there. Front row? Front row?
Of course.
All right, cool. You're the man. Listen, I saw you lace up the gloves once versus Oscar De La Hoya. Can we ever see you put the gloves back on? Maybe versus Dwight Howard.
Well, why would I fight him? I only fight champions.
You only fight
If I do, see, my thing is, all these guys have a problem with me, but you wait till I turn 50 to say you want to fight.
Right.
I don't respect that. I'll fight Gronk, because Gronk is a champion, and he's a friend of mine, and I know that he'll compete.
So you want to box Gronk or MMA?
What up? MMA.
MMA.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
hey, bigger, so you're a legend. Hey, you're always the coolest. Congrats on another successful year at Shaq's Funhouse.
Former world champion Timothy Bradley also weighed in strongly on the matchup, particularly addressing the narrative surrounding Canelo Alvarez's sparring partners. After it was revealed that Canelo brought in Jaron Ennis, many wondered if Crawford would be intimidated knowing Canelo was preparing with such high-level fighters. Bradley dismissed this completely, stating that Terrence Crawford is not the type to get scared or rattled by news from his opponent's camp. According to Bradley, Bud is simply built differently. His confidence, resilience, and track record in the ring all point to a fighter who thrives under pressure. Bradley even went as far as calling Crawford the GOAT, emphasizing that the Omaha-born champion is mentally unshakable and technically superior. For Bradley, there is no doubt that Crawford welcomes the challenge with full confidence and refuses to be distracted by external noise.
Tim Desert Storm Bradley, who the hell is scared? Who's scared? I ain't scared. T ain't scared. Team Crawford ain't scared. Shit, we ain't never scared. Y'all better get it right. Shoot. Hey, Canelo, you might be getting that Chrysler 300. You getting that Chrysler 300 work right now. That's what you getting. But you ain't getting that. You getting that Bentley on the 13th. You getting that Bentley on the 13th, my boy. Yeah. Yeah, go ahead and play with that Chrysler 300. You getting the real on the 13th. I promise you, man. Shoot. I've been saying this since the first day I sparred this man. Trust me. I'm telling y'all, man, out there. Crawford is a different animal. Yeah, he's something like a Michael Jordan. He's something like a Kobe Bryant. He's something like a LeBron James. Yeah, damn it, he a GOAT. I'm telling y'all, GOAT. GOAT. When y'all gonna step up, man? When y'all gonna believe me, man? What do I gotta continue to tell y'all? He gonna figure it out. Shoot, Crawford is Ali. Crawford Sugar Ray Robinson. Crawford Mayweather. He got Mayweather in him too. Yeah. He got Hagler in him. He got Duran in him. Understand that. Y'all think this is a game, man? Y'all think I'm just blowing smoke up my mind? I'm not. No. I'm telling y'all. He gonna figure it out.
One of the biggest storylines leading up to this fight has been the reported visit of Floyd Mayweather Jr. to Terence Crawford's training camp. Given that Mayweather is one of the few men who has already faced and beaten Canelo Alvarez, his insight could be incredibly valuable. Mayweather's blueprint against Canelo was built on sharp defense, counterpunching, and frustrating the Mexican superstar with precision. For Crawford, having direct access to Floyd's advice would mean learning from the very fighter who solved the Canelo puzzle over a decade ago. Reports suggest that Floyd spoke with Crawford about discipline, patience, and how to exploit small windows in Canelo's style.
3 wins, 2 losses, 2 draws, 39 big wins by way of knockout, will not learn and not be able to pick up from Jerron Boots Ennis sparring Canelo Alvarez. There's an uproar because Jerron Boots Ennis, African-American fighter, black boxer, has joined the Mexicans' camp to help prepare the Mexican fighter, Canelo Alvarez, defeat another African-American fighter, which he needs Jerron Ennis to give him looks of the undefeated pound-for-pound king, 4-division world champion, 2-division undisputed world champion, superstar boxer, who will be a first ballot Hall of Famer once he retires as well, in Terence Bud Crawford, who has 41 wins, no loss, no draw, 31 wins by way of knockout.
Crawford's physical strength at 147 pounds has always been one of his most underrated attributes. Despite moving up from lighter weight divisions, he has consistently demonstrated power and durability against larger opponents. What further underscores his preparation is the fact that he has been sparring with former pound-for-pound great Andre Ward. Ward, a master technician and undefeated champion, provides Crawford with the kind of experience that cannot be replicated elsewhere. Training with someone of Ward's caliber pushes Crawford to adapt to complex strategies, improve his ring IQ, and sharpen his defensive awareness. The combination of natural strength, relentless work ethic, and exposure to elite sparring partners builds the case for why Crawford could be at his absolute peak walking into the Canelo fight. The message is clear. Bud is not only a natural winner, but one who prepares at the highest possible level.
My people out there who think I just side with the black guy, I seen the comments in the last video that I did, okay? But we have to break some things down into perspective here. First and foremost, Terence Crawford is a very strong 147 pounder. He's not a regular guy. He's not a regular 147 pounder. Another thing is, he's an extremely determined fighter. That guy's a winner. He's cut from the same cloth as the Andre Wards, the Floyd Mayweathers. You only get certain fighters that come across in a decade that have that kind of aura and that kind of determination to win. Now, we want to break it down fundamentally. Don't get me wrong. Canelo is a strong fighter. You know, he's proven himself. He got a great chin. He's fought some of the best fighters that you can ask for. But he's not that much bigger if you ask me. They're about the same size and height. Now, don't get me wrong. He's a little bit wider. He's a little bit, you know, thicker, right? Like, as far as his frame goes.
Veteran analyst Max Kellerman has described the upcoming clash as the biggest event of his entire career. Despite covering some of the most iconic fights in recent history, Kellerman believes Canelo versus Crawford carries a magnitude that surpasses them all, even the highly publicized Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson spectacle. In his analysis, the fight transcends normal boxing hype because it involves two pound-for-pound kings, each representing different eras and styles of the sport. Canelo is the face of modern boxing dominance, while Crawford is the symbol of technical brilliance and underdog resilience. For Kellerman, this fight represents boxing at its purest. Two champions meeting without excuses, politics, or delays. The anticipation surrounding it is not just about viewership numbers, but about the legacy implications for both men.
But like, where would you rank this fight out of your top 3 to 5 of all the boxing fights you've called, you've experienced, you've watched?
In terms of the magnitude of the fight?
Yeah, the magnitude, yeah.
I mean, of the fights that I've called ringside, it might turn out to be number 1. I've done Pacquiao fights, I've done Mayweather fights, I've done Anthony Joshua against Klitschko. Those are big fights, but this will, listen, because of Netflix, this will be the most watched fight, championship fight, in almost 50 years. This is going to be, because Muhammad Ali fought Leon Spinks in the rematch in '78, and they did 90 million TV sets. 90 million. And since then, what has even come close? The biggest fights have all been on pay-per-view, and they do 2 million buys. Oh my God, 4 million buys, Mayweather Pacquiao. As I keep saying, if 5 people per TV set watch, per buy, watch, that's 20 million people. This is gonna do multiples of that. So, so when you look at it from like a commercial point of view, it'll easily be the biggest boxing event I've ever covered.
Some experts argue that the version of Canelo Alvarez we see on Fight Night will determine the outcome more than anything else. Critics have noted that Canelo's recent performances have lacked the explosiveness and sharpness that defined his prime years. To beat Crawford, many believe Canelo must return to his old self, the relentless pressure fighter with devastating combinations and unshakable stamina. If he fights cautiously or underestimates Crawford's timing, he could be picked apart. Analysts emphasize that Canelo's legacy is on the line, and only by reaching back to his earlier form will he have the chance to silence doubters. This fight in many ways demands the very best version of Canelo Alvarez.
In regards to Canelo's media workout, so what do we see there? We see a little bit of what he wants to do to take advantage of a right-hand southpaw matchup. Get his lead foot on the outside, bang the right hand down the pipe, set it up with the jab, and maybe even fire that jab at the lead hand of Crawford to just get it touch, step outside right hand down the middle. We saw Canelo doing a lot of cross-stepping, which is, I think, a bad idea versus someone who has good angle manipulation like Crawford does. Right? Every wasted movement is going to be a capitalization for Crawford to try to fire back on it. And Canelo is going to be there to be hit with some counter punches. Make no mistake about it, Canelo will stand in the pocket. Yes, he'll try to make Crawford miss, but sometimes he'll even eat a couple so that he can be there behind that high guard, taking punches to look for one of the big ones on his own counter shot. So that can be a little bit of the gamesmanship too. That can be a little bit of the chess game going on, is who's going to land the bigger counter punch and how many of those can Crawford take moving up to 168 versus Canelo, who has been there and is fighting a guy that has fought at a lot smaller weight, that hasn't seen the power, like we talked about, the narratives being built, that Canelo brings at 168. Even now, all those things will come into play. I think a big important part of this fight is just how much Canelo utilizes his lead hand, because I'm telling you, it's going to be the most important thing in this fight. I really think if Canelo is back on his jab and is able to mask some of the stuff that he loves to do, which is that lead hook to the body, smashing hook on the arms, on the body, on the shoulders. If he's able to hide it just a little bit and then hit you with that timing, that Canelo Alvarez timing that's been perfect, that put down Amir Khan, that put down Billy Joe Saunders, that found the button on Kovalev, those punches, that timing, it's not just speed, it's not just power, it's the throwing in between, it's finding the right shot. Those things can make all the difference in the world, because I would almost bet everything I own that if Canelo lands clean on Crawford, it's going to have far more of an effect than Crawford landing clean on Canelo. And that's not even because both guys don't possess power. Crawford possesses power, and he's put a lot of guys down. But Canelo, we've seen, has an iron chin, and I watched Crawford get rocked by Gamboa. Again, different time period. I get that, but I don't think that as you get older and even as you go up in weight, that somehow makes you more readily available to take flush punches.
Boxing legend Andre Ward has praised the significance of the matchup, stressing that regardless of the winner, the sport itself is the ultimate victor. Ward noted that fights of this magnitude are rare in today's boxing landscape, where negotiations and promotional barriers often prevent the best from facing the best. He specifically thanked figures like Turki Alalshik and Dana White for helping bring the fight to life, acknowledging their role in making history. Ward highlighted that fans across the globe have been clamoring for events like this where pound-for-pound greats collide at the height of their powers. In his eyes, the fight represents progress for boxing, proving that when key figures collaborate, the sport can produce unforgettable spectacles. Leading into the fight, one of the biggest concerns surrounding Crawford was whether he could withstand Canelo's punching power. Canelo has long been regarded as one of the hardest hitters in the sport, and moving up in weight has historically challenged smaller fighters. However, recent footage of Crawford's training camp has completely shifted the narrative. Videos show Bud looking stronger, bigger, and more comfortable at the higher weight, silencing critics who doubted his physical readiness. Analysts now argue that the weight gain has only enhanced his natural abilities, making him look sharp and agile while adding bulk where necessary.
Right, and again, stark contrast to what Terence Crawford is having to deal with. He is fighting guys, and when I say cutting down from 190, probably in the ring at 190 pounds, much less cutting down from it. Crawford's probably used to being hit by guys like Sean Porter, who, you know, maybe 160 pound on fight night. The difference is just night and day. So I was thinking, how in God's name are you going to get around that? How are you going to get around the strength disadvantage? Because Crawford is very physically strong, and he normally always has, maybe with the exception of Sean Porter, although that was kind of much of a muchness. Sean Porter did really well that fight. He's normally always had the physical strength advantage, very physically strong as Terence Crawford. And I just remember thinking, how are you going to get around that? You know, you're used to hitting guys and they get hurt. Alvarez has been hit by Danny Jacobs. He's been hit by Triple G. He's been hit by Bivol, Kovalev, Callum Smith, etc., etc., etc. Big punching guys who are a lot bigger than Terence Crawford. Granted, not skillful, a lot bigger. So again, I'm thinking, how are you going to get around this? Well, Crawford has released a couple of training clips, and in those training clips, yikes, he's looking good for one. He's looking a lot better than Canelo was looking in some of his training clips. But again, you can't read a great deal into those training clips because, again, Alvarez is clearly holding back. You know, people say, oh, he looked terrible. It's like, well, you can kind of tell he's not going full tilt. You know, you can kind of tell that. So what does that tell you? You know, how many times have we seen guys look good on the pads and then on fight night they've nothing left? I distinctly remember Alexander Povetkin in the run-up to the second Dillian Whyte fight in an open workout. Man looked really good in the pads. That was in Gibraltar. Man looked really good in the pads. Really good. He didn't look good on fight night, did he? So, you know, you can't read a great deal into, if they look, if you can tell they're trying, they look completely.
Comedian and actor Faison Love also made headlines with his bold prediction for the fight. He described Crawford as a very bad guy, in the sense of being dangerously good inside the ring, and declared outright that Bud would win regardless of Canelo's resume. Love dismissed the argument that Canelo's long list of opponents gives him the edge, insisting that Crawford's adaptability, intelligence, and killer instinct will overcome any challenge. For Faison, the fight isn't about who Canelo has beaten in the past, but about the present reality. Crawford is in his prime, hungry, and ready to prove his greatness. His words reflect the sentiment of many fans who see this as the ultimate passing of the torch moment in boxing.
Well, are you a boxing fan?
Yeah.
Canelo versus Crawford.
Crawford all day long.
Now.
Crawford all day long.
Now, according to betonline.ag, Canelo is favored -172. Crawford is the underdog at +151.
Oh, good.
So that means if you bet $172 on Canelo, you'll get $100 back. Almost 2-to-1 odds.
Wait, are you saying Canelo is the under?
Favored. No. Canelo's favored.
Oh.
So that means Crawford. So with Crawford, if you bet $100 on Crawford, you'll get $151 back. Meaning that he is basically
underdog.
He's the underdog. They'll say that he's going to lose. Now Crawford is undefeated. Canelo had a couple defeats like Mayweather, but in general, he's been doing it a bit longer. And Canelo's naturally bigger.
So?
You give it to Crawford?
I'm going to bet on Crawford.
Is it because he's black? And Canelo's Mexican.
No, because Crawford's Bud's a bad.
Yeah.
Bud's a bad. The only Shea interview I liked was with him and Crawford.
Okay.
Did you see that?
No, I didn't see it.
It was a really good interview.
Okay.
He was showing him how to fight, and Shea kept getting tired. He's like, and he just kept it 100. They was in the ring. He showed him how to box. Because I always thought I had to slap Shannon. Well, you know, I was like, at some point, me and Shannon gonna mix it up, but no longer. It's all love. And he can't fight. He's just a big dude. And Crawford was. Can we scratch that? But yeah, he can't fight. He was in there with Crawford, and Crawford was.
Well, look, Canelo is 63-2-2 with 39 knockouts. Crawford is 41-0 with 31 knockouts. So more knockouts per fights, percentage-wise.
Crawford?
Yeah, but Crawford has to go up in weight. Canelo's naturally bigger and stockier.
That's just technically.
Yeah, I mean, but that does matter.
Not really.
Crawford is taller. He's at 5'8", 74-inch reach.
When is this fight?
September 13th, 2025. And it's going to be on Netflix, so it's going to be free.
Is it in Vegas?
Yeah, I believe so.
I'm going to be there.
That's it for today's video. Stay tuned until next time.